Hi, this is Kimberly from Are You Awakening? I am here to talk to you about timelines today. Oh my gosh, what a hot subject, yes? Timelines. So I've been experiencing giant jumps in timelines, and at this point in my life, I'm not even gonna pretend to have to explain to you how it works scientifically, because that is not my purpose here on earth. You want to go look it up, you go right ahead. I'm totally okay with that. But at this point, I know that there are different timelines and I jump them a lot. So, what's the big deal about that? None. Yes. No. And so everyone is jumping timelines. You do it 1 billion times per second. And what exactly is that? That's you making a decision. That's all it is. Let's say you are going along a particular path and you are a particular you. And then one day you're like, I think I'd like to change some part of me. I think I'd like to be more assertive and talk to more people. Okay, right there is a decision that you've made, and if you sent that out with intent and with the feeling of, I really would love to be assertive, and knowing how that would feel, that puts you on a new timeline. So now what? As long as you keep thinking that same feeling, I'm assertive, I can stand up for myself, I can talk to strangers, then you continue on that timeline. Okay? Now, you're making different decisions about all different things. So let me tell you, the timeline isn't linear, it's holographic, meaning you're going here and here and here and here and here and here and here based on the decisions that you make. All of those things in the hologram are possibilities for you. So every time you make a new decision, you're jumping on a different timeline, holographically speaking, and you're going into a new path. How exciting is that? If you can imagine that possibility, then it is in your hologram and you can choose it. The only thing that holds you back from choosing it, my friend, is your belief as to whether you can or cannot choose it. Okay, that's kind of a big statement. I just whipped it out there, but I want you to think about that. It completely depends on your belief about whether it can happen or not. Okay, so let's talk about the evolutionary process and where you may be in that process. Chances are you're in a period where you are reviewing your beliefs, knocking some out if they no longer serve you, adopting new ones, and the doubts are falling away. They fall away gradually. They don't all fall away at once. We would fritz out our nervous systems if that happened. Okay, so little by little, we're letting these doubts go. And as we let these doubts go, we expand. What we believe can happen expands, which means more possibilities in that hologram are now visible to you because you believe that they can happen. Right. Anything you can think of, my friend, if you can get rid of the belief that you can't do it, you can do it. All right? I'll say it again. You're creating your own reality, and the self has no limits. The self has no limits. The only limits that you have are ones that you have put on yourself. Okay? Now, with that, you're making different decisions, and you're going into different timelines. And what does that mean for you during your daily life? Okay? What it means is that you will start to recognize the differences between the timelines once you become more observant. Here's an example. I live in Hollywood and I have a pair of neighbors, and it's a man and it's a woman. And sometimes I see this man and he's a really good, slim, fit guy, and his roommate is like his daughter's age. She's like early 20s. Okay? And sometimes I see the same neighbor and he's a little bit heavier. He's more of a beer kind of drinking guy, and he's more of got the dad bod going on, and his roommate looks like his wife. Yeah, you have to get over that crazy part, right? Where you're asking yourself, what am I seeing? Are my eyes letting me down? Well, first of all, friends, if 57% of the world needs glasses, there's a hint for you. So your eyes are not necessarily the best representation of your physical reality. But besides that, what's happening here is I am jumping between two timelines, which means that there is a decision somewhere in my world that I have not fully solidified yet, because I'm going back and I'm going forth and I'm going back and I'm going forth. So what does that mean for me? Well, make a damn decision, whichever one you want, and I know probably which one it is, right? It has nothing to do with my neighbors, mind you. This is just an example of reflections back to us of what our physical reality is displaying based on our intentions, based on the thoughts that we're sending out. Yeah. You see, this is where life gets fun. Yeah, you don't need to spend all that time in front of the television. You got your own freaking sitcom right here if you want it. You can totally focus on the differences in your world. Look for them. Ask for them to come to you. And they're subtle. They're not always as big and huge as my neighbor, gaining 75 pounds in a 5-minute period. All right? They can be more subtle than that. Here's another example. I walk a lot here in Hollywood, and there's a car, and it's parked right in front of my house, and it's clean. And then I go to the store and I come back a half an hour later and the same car is parked in the same place, but it's filthy, like it's been through a rainstorm, like that. Car hasn't moved, it hasn't rained, okay? So little things like this, after you get over the holy shit, I'm crazy mode, which is normal, then you can kind of calm down and realize that your life is very, very malleable. Okay? And you have just merely chosen a different timeline for whatever reason, and you're recognizing the differences. Okay? This is not my idea. I didn't make this up. You can look up the Mandela Effect, and I have a video on it elsewhere if you want to watch it. But these things have always been there. It's just that we have not focused on them before. We have not recognized it before. And the reason that we haven't recognized it before is because the belief systems were so stringent that we only believed that there was one reality. There had to be one truth. There could not be more than one truth. Well, there's more than one truth. It depends on whose eyes are looking at that event or that situation or that person. Okay? So understand that we are shifting all the time. All the time, all the time, okay? Now, I have a little bit of a benefit in that I was in the film industry for a long time in props, which is fun. So I was in charge of continuity, meaning that there was no way that they were going to start filming if the actor had the drink in his right hand last time and he's holding it in his left hand this time. So I've been trained to pick those things out. Okay? Nowadays, they don't give a shit. They don't care because most people are not paying attention to those subtleties. If you choose to pay attention to those subtleties and you choose to look at differences in your day and in the things that you are so used to looking at, then it can be a lot more fun knowing that you're making changes. You are evolving and you're moving to a different timeline, and you now have released enough of those belief systems and doubts to understand that it is possible. Okay? I know this is some esoteric stuff, but it really does make life fun. And, this discontinuity for me has been what's kept me going because sometimes I feel like I'm on a plateau and what's happening? And there's a lot of things happening. So I want you to try, if it's interesting to you, to look for the subtleties, to look for the differences, and to not explain them off as bad eyesight or bad memory or all those things. If you want to, go ahead, but there's always more than one answer to anything. And since you're creating your life, there's something for you to learn from that situation. Okay? All right, good stuff. Timeline jumping. I made a new t-shirt about that, so I'll put the link there if you're interested. It's kind of fun. Until next time, don't forget, always be yourself, even if it's on a different timeline, all the time. Love.